$40 guys, they stopped sending me their usual, every 2 weeks they always used to send me like a statement, but they stopped doing it.
Really?
And I haven't gotten anything from them for probably over a month.
A statement every 2 weeks? I never got a statement.
Well, it's like a little thing in how much money you have.
Yeah, but not every 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe it was once a month. Anyway, I haven't gotten it in a while. I'm wondering if they just stopped doing it. I should probably give the guy a call.
Yeah, you know how to log in?
No, I just...
Oh, you just call them, Brian up.
Hey, if you have any more of those overnight things too, let me know.
Yeah.
I love those. Those are great.
I might have, either have a Mountain View one or another one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Mountain View one was really good. And there's a couple of other ones I'm working on. So we'll get you something good.
Well, Mike will be good today. We can talk some NFL.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a good NFL guy. He can talk about the 49ers and their dysfunction.
Yeah.
And about the Raiders and what's going on with them.
Okay.
That'd be fun. Because those are two good topics, even though they're local. And then we can branch out and get into the Packers and what's going on with Denver and Pittsburgh and some of these other teams.
Okay.
And he'd also be good to talk to about the 49ers of the old days because he played with them.
Oh.
He was on the team in '81 when they won the first championship. He was this backup. He was the backup receiver.
I thought the name sounded familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He played with from '78 to about '82, and then he played in the USFL with the Oakland Invaders. If you want to, he's been at KGO TV for about, I'm going to say 15 years. I worked with him at KMBR for a couple of years, but he's been mostly at KGO, so you can just say a long time local television sportscaster. Nice, good guy.
Okay.
Lives over in Mill Valley.
Yeah,
From a real wealthy family.
Oh, he's not coming in. No, is he?
No, he'd love to, but he just his day off today. He's just chilling.
Okay. Yeah,
he's got a daughter probably about your daughter's age, just getting ready for college. So Mike is a few years younger than me, and he'd really like to retire in a year or two. I told him, I said, man, family money, man, you're set. And he goes, oh, no. My parents don't coddle me.
Well, good for him. I mean, he has to make pretty decent money even as a backup receiver.
Yeah, in those days in the early 80s, you probably made $70,000, $80,000 a year, which was good. Yeah, that was good money in 1981. Yeah. And then he's probably making about 150 now, so he's not doing too badly. He's been smart, invested his money. He only has one kid.
Yeah, that's the best smart investment is only having one kid.
2 kids is not. When I hear about guys, one of our producers at KGO has 4 kids.
Yeah, I know. It's just,
and his wife works full time. They never see their kids.
Yeah. There's the car and the house and by the way, Christian just yesterday found out he passed the last part of the CPA exam.
Oh, great!
Yeah,
good for him. He's excited about that, huh?
That's very exciting. Yeah.
Following Dad's footsteps.
Yeah,
very,
that's
very,
I didn't get my
smart.
CPA, but because I was
very smart. Did you have a CPA degree?
No, the reason is because back when I was doing accounting, they wouldn't let accountants do all the other stuff like insurance and investment stuff.
Oh.
And so I looked, I go, well, gosh, if I get my MBA or my master's in tax, I can actually kind of do everything a CPA does, except for an audit. Who wants to do audits?
Are you a CPA or are you considered an investment counselor? Or both? Do you do both?
Okay, I can't call myself a CPA because I don't have a CPA license.
But you do.
But I've got a master's in tax and a bachelor's in accounting.
But you do people's, like you do my taxes.
Yeah.
You do a lot of people's taxes like you do mine?
Only about 15. Yeah,
what do you mostly do? Is just investments, property?
Yeah, investments, property, radio show. Because that pays the big bucks. We know that radio pays big bucks. Yeah. So it's owning some real estate and helping Mark with his fund.
You were smart to get into a field that, I mean, it's changed. Everything changes, but God, if I had known broadcasting was going to do what it did,
who would have?
I don't think I would have not gotten into it. But God, who would have thought that there would be all this? With this thing has changed. This has changed everything. What we're doing? Yeah, we're doing podcasts.
Yeah. No, I hear you there. I mean, cable and everything.
I'd love to go back to work full time even now, but I just don't think it's practical unless Colette. I don't know if I got a job with like one of the local stations, I could see it, and then Colette could take some time off. But she doesn't really want to take time off. She likes working.
It's probably healthy for her.
Well, it keeps her focused. Like last night, she woke up about 4, and I thought she was just getting up early, and I didn't realize it was 4. I thought it was maybe 6. And she got up. We have our brokers open today, so we had a bunch of. Yeah, it happens like every once a week. So she wanted to make sure the house. She's like a neatnik, so everything's like super clean. She's scrubbing everything. And she comes back in, and like Molly climbs to bed with me. We go to sleep, and about 2 hours later, she's getting ready to leave school. I said, "What time is it?" I said, "You've been here a while." She goes, "Oh, I got up at 4." And I said, "Oh, geez, that's kind of early." She goes, "I just couldn't sleep."
Wow.
So, but I have a feeling some of it's anxiety. I think even though right now she's healthy, I think there's a certain amount of anxiety. And naturally,
Of course.
why wouldn't there be?
As time goes
I mean, you imagine being in that situation where you have cancer, but you don't know when it's going to come, or if it's ever going to come.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Is it okay to get Mike on the phone?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No. I got to report to the show. I was going to make sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, he can talk other sports too, right?
Oh yeah. I'm just saying, in football, we could definitely talk Warriors. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Zach Greinke.
That's a good idea. Yeah. His expertise is really football. Though. He played it. I mean, he's really good at football.
Yeah, we got a fun talk about that.
Hopefully, he'll answer the phone here. Sometimes Mike, he's not a flake, but it's just like everybody. They get busy. You know what I'll do is, if he doesn't answer, go ahead and leave a message, and I'll also text him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he knows we're calling it.
I told him yesterday, or 2 days ago. Hopefully he didn't.
Well, why don't we do
Hello, you have reached Mike Shuman of NGO TV. I'm unavailable. Would you like to wait for me to leave a message? I'll get back to you.
I'll call yourself.
Okay.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Mike. It's Edward Brown and Bruce McGowan from Sports Econ 101. We're supposed to give you a call around now to do a quick interview. And if you can give Bruce a quick call on his cell, which is 415
497
497
9756.
9756, and let us know when you're ready, then we'll get you on. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Okay, I figure what we do is
672 9162.
672 9162.
Okay,
Yeah.
Might
Might as well get our first 2 minutes in.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's start it up.
Because I don't like having these guys have to wait on that anyway.
Yeah, no, that's no good. 672.
Yeah, 672 9162.
That's a 415.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do this all. I will. Oh, yeah, go. Oh, there he is.
There it is, okay.
Hey, Mike. Hey, why don't we'll call you right back?
Yeah, on this.
We'll have you on and then we're ready to go. Call you right back. He's ready.
He's ready?
Yeah, I think he just was probably talking to somebody.
Embarrassing, 'cause I used to know all those guys.
What's that?
All the 49ers. And the
Oh,
Yankees.
gee, well, I mean, that wasn't a big name.
Hi, Mike. It's Edward Brown and Bruce McGowan. You okay?
Can you hear us? Mike, can you hear us?
Okay.
Good.
So I want to
Okay.
make sure you're there. Okay, so what we're going to do, we do a quick little 2-minute interlude, and then I save the file, and then we'll introduce you right after that, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
How long will it go?
Can you give us 20 minutes?
Sure.
Okay. All right, Bruce, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay. Welcome to Sports Econ 101. This is the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime sports radio personality. Today's show is going to be extra special. Why? Bruce, tell us who our guest is going to
Now
be.
we got a
in the second segment.
good friend of mine who actually worked with for a couple of years back in the day, Mike Shuman, who played in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers, also played in the USFL, which came along in the mid-1980s. And Mike is from Florida, but he's been broadcasting in television here on the nightly news as a sportscaster for the local ABC affiliate KGO for about 15 years or so, and has done radio in the area. So Mike's going to talk some NFL with us. It'll be fun.
Excellent. Okay, we'll also talk a little about Zach Greinke.
Yeah.
Testing the open market. I thought that'd be kind of fun. To look at
Sure.
that. Okay, so each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question, and the trivia theme is "You Pick the Team." All right, I'm going to ask the question. You pick the team. And this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding over 8%, secured by Bay Area real estate. It doesn't get any more conservative than that. Their actual loan to value is less than 60% so far. No losses in the fund. Everyone's been very happy with that. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. And also, when we get back to, ask Mike and ask you about this, about the computer guessing football games and how, the computer is doing not too bad a job, except for they don't really take into account the point spread, I don't believe. All right? So that'll be kind of fun. And we'll also talk about a little bit of baseball, a little bit of Warriors maybe. They're doing pretty well. They took on the Clippers a couple days ago, kind of smashed them down toward the end there. All right, you're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial because we will be right back. All right. That was kind of a little bit shorter one, but that's okay.
I get a kick out of Vernon Davis here saying, wasn't my fault the 49ers sucked. Vernon.
I'm just going to go ahead
I
and
like
say
Vernon Davis, but he's kind of a prima donna, isn't he, Mike?
He can be.
Yeah.
But he was actually a good guy.
Yeah, he seemed like a good guy, yeah. What do you think happened to him? His skills just deteriorated so quickly.
Well, he just, I'm not sure how big his heart was. He was one of those guys that was so athletic and physically built that sometimes there's something missing, and a lot of times it can be the heart,
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
All right,
So
hang on.
save the file there. And I'm going to have Bruce introduce you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks again for joining us, Mike. I appreciate it.
Hey, no worries.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Bruce, why don't you introduce our guest?
Yeah, it's Mike Shuman, a longtime Bay Area sportscaster who's worked in television locally and in radio. And Mike, for those that might even remember that name that, are your longtime fans of the 49ers, Mike was actually a player, a receiver with the 49ers back in the late 70s, early 80s. And Mike was on that first Super Bowl winning team of 1981, and I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, Mike, you were on the field when Joe Montana connected with Dwight Clark. I think you were the other receiver, weren't you in that play?
Actually, 2 plays before the catch, Bruce, we ran the same play on the left side of that end zone. If you recall, Joe overthrew Freddie Solomon.
Oh, that's right.
About 10 feet. I've never seen Joe miss somebody so much. And to tell you the truth, Freddie should have been the hero of that game. But Dwight tells the story later. He was on the sideline, and he heard Bill say, okay, we're going to run another 18 bob with Wendell Elliott, and then we're going to run the same play, sprint right option to the right side. So Dwight just ran in the game. He wasn't, sent in. I didn't see a signal to come out, but he comes in, he goes, I got you, Shuey. And I kind of looked at him like, something's going on here, but hey, at that time, he was out, he don't think twice about it. So Dwight tells me, like 10 years later, you know what, Shuey? That could have been you making the game.
You'd be the guy with all the plaudits and all the talk.
Yeah, I said, are you kidding me? I said, what? If I don't make that catch, I'll have a 30-year career broadcasting in the Bay Area.
That's right.
Everything worked out for the best.
It is interesting, though, when you think about that catch. I mean, Dwight Clark had a great career. There's no question. Maybe not a Hall of Fame career, but that catch was the single most talked about play of any team in Bay Area sports history. To this day, it still remains the iconic play. And people forget that was one of those games that was just back and forth. They would score, you would score, and then I think you guys turned the ball over 6 times.
Well, yeah, toward the end, Danny White almost took it down again.
That's if it hadn't been for Eric Wright making a great save. Tell us about that play, Mike, because right after Dwight Clark scores, there's about 50 seconds left to go, and all the Cowboys have to do is get in a field goal position, and almost immediately, Danny White hit, I think it was Drew Pearson.
It was Drew Pearson.
Yeah.
And Ronnie Lott and Dwight Hicks had collided with each other, and Drew Pearson squeezed through, and actually Eric grabbed it. Now would be a horse collar tackle, by the shoulder pads brought it down. I think it was 2 plays later, Lawrence Millers and Jim Stuckey got the fumble. But and you also mentioned 6 turnovers in an NFC title game. You're not supposed to win games like that when you have 6 turnovers. So if there was a team of destiny with the 49ers, that was the team. playing in the Cincinnati Bengals, the team that shunned Bill as the head coach and basically blackballed him from the NFL. And then Bill faces that team in his first ever Super Bowl, and we beat them for the first title. And of course, as you both know, there's nothing like the first time to do anything.
Oh yeah,
No.
that game was really close too. I remember. What was it? Crumry broke his ankle in the first.
Yeah, and I believe that the 49ers jumped off to a big lead, but they had to, you guys had a tough time hanging on to that lead. I mean, you hung on to it, but Cincinnati just kept coming back. The key there was the goal line stand that kept them out of the end zone with I guess, Dan Bunce made a great tackle, didn't he?
Yeah, that was the best form tackle in the history of football. Best goal line stand in the history of the Super Bowl. If you recall, we fumbled the opening kickoff, famous Martin, and usually whoever scores first in the Super Bowl wins. High percentage anyway. So Dwight Hicks intercepted Kenny Anderson off of that fumble and prevented them from scoring. And I think we were up 20 or 21 nothing at halftime, and it was the first time I ever saw Bill shut down, try not to lose instead of keeping his foot on the gas pedal at this area. Like you said, if there had been another 2 minutes in that game, they probably win it.
What was Bill Walsh like to play for, Mike? I know, to those of us in the media, he was kind of enigmatic. I got to know him quite well, but it was much later when he was at Stanford. And I know he was always very guarded with the media. What was he like if you were a player? Were you kind of intimidated? Was he he wasn't a touchy-feely kind of a guy, was he?
Now, in his first year, though, he still had that assistant coach in him. So he's very fun-loving. He had a great sense of humor, which he kept intact. But he was a lot more fun in his first year. Then he started to get a little serious about being a head coach, I think. Not that he wasn't the first year, but he realized he had to keep separation because he was also the general manager where he had to negotiate contracts. So he was, for me, he was great because his offense fit receivers like myself perfectly. And it changed the face of football when we were setting up the run with the pass. We were running all these horizontal routes instead of stretching the field vertically. I can remember running shallow crosses and linebackers screaming out, "Where'd he come from?" Or, he trying to grab you as you came across the field. So I think we just snuck up on everybody. They didn't know how to defend it. And, of course, that cover two with the two deep safeties and the five straight across is what really, Tampa Bay's cover two is what really was designed to stop the West Coast offense. So Bill Walsh changed the face of the NFL in the early 80s. And he was, I really enjoyed playing with him because he was really smart, he was creative, wasn't the old school. I played for Don Shula, Don McKay, and Bill, and Shula was old school and kind of beat you down. Bill, for instance, wouldn't let him pay the rookies because he thought you'd mess them up mentally and maybe ruin their career. He was way ahead of his time, and his coaching tree was just phenomenal, and how many assistants went on to become head coaches.
Mike, let me ask you, and Bill's not here to answer this question, unfortunately, but what do you think it would be like to be the general manager, like you said, being the general manager, negotiating contracts, but then also coaching? I mean, boy, that's two hats to wear at the same time. That's going to be tough.
I don't think really you can do that anymore. I didn't think that yet, especially with the money in the league now.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all making $60,000, and if you recall, they traded for OJ, Joe Thomas, who was making $800,000 in 1978 and 9, which was like, $20 million now. So, and Bill, didn't hate OJ, but he couldn't wait to get rid of him because he had no control over him. And we literally, OJ had one leg left.
Yeah, he was toward the end of his career.
Yeah, he didn't care about learning the offense. We'd call a huddle in the play, and it would be, say, red right, 22Z in, OJ run a flat. So we had to tell OJ what to do within the call of the huddle. Red right, 18-5, that's you on a sweep, OJ, on two. Ready? We literally, OJ, what to do every play when he called it, Steve DeBerg called it in the huddle. So that was the difference back then. And I don't think you could do it now. There's too much money in the game.
Let's flash to 35 years into the future. Now we're with a team this year that is just going through an absolute nightmare of a season. I mean, they've changed quarterbacks. They lost a lot of guys through free agency. They have a coach who is perceived by those of us in the media and the fans as a milquetoast and a handmaiden to the owner. I mean, Mike, could this scenario have been any worse than the 49ers could have imagined? What is going on with this team? Why are they so... I mean, there's a reason why they've only won a couple of games, but as you see it, is it more than just losing some key players and losing a head coach? Is there something wrong with this team's heart?
Well, I think, first of all, I think Trent Baalke's draft did not set them up for the transition they're going through this year. 2012, 2010 and 11, he did really well. 2012 was not one player he drafted on the team. And 13 and 14, maybe a couple players have contributed. So with all these players left or were injured or retired, Trent didn't have this organization set up for the transition. And he brought in free agents like Reggie Bush, Darnell Dawkins, thinking they had one more shot at the Super Bowl run. Barr Bowman blew out his knee. We didn't know what he was going to be. So I think more than anything, they weren't set up for the transition. And then Jim Harbaugh, love him or hate him, knew how to win, knew how to get the most out of a player, although I think he burns players out when it's 3 or 4 years, and that's been history everywhere he's been. But, and I think he protected Kaepernick. He enabled him. He never let Cap know when he was doing wrong. And so I think in Cap's mind, he can't understand now why he's struggling so much. And what he is a great athlete, playing quarterback, but has no quarterback instincts.
Yeah.
How can he go down and train with Kurt Warner all off season? He gets worse.
Well, and of course, I think a lot of it has to do. You don't want to make excuses for the guy, but I mean, there's no Frank Gore, there's no Mike Iupati, there's no Anthony Davis, there's no Vernon Davis came back as a shell of himself, and then the defense, lost some key players.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Save that thought because we have to cut to a quick break here. All right. The theme is you pick the team. So, Mike, I'm going to ask this question. Don't answer it if you know it yet because we got to see if the audience can answer it at the break. All right. These are easier questions than normal. This franchise began in the AFL in 1960 and later merged with the NFL in 1970. The franchise found themselves in the first Super Bowl. What was the name of? Oh, that gave it a little bit of a hint, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
That's too easy, but that's okay.
All right, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back.
All right.
I should have done that part of it. That made it a little bit.
Well, maybe you can say.
I know the Packers in the first one. They play Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City. There you go.
You probably knew
The
before
Raiders
that, didn't you?
Raiders was the second one.
But you knew the answer. Before
Oh,
I said
yeah,
that
yeah,
part.
yeah.
I figured.
Yeah, Kansas City was in 2 of the first 4 Super Bowls, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hank Stram.
Angstrom. I remember going to the last AFL title game in 1969. I went with my dad, and the Raiders were the home team, and LaMonica broke his hand. They ended up losing 17-7. The Chiefs defense just shut him down. I remember Hank Stram. They mic'd him during the game. I guess actually they mic'd him during the Super Bowl. And when they scored a touchdown, he just had this one. He kept repeating this one play. Red right 25. See right. You remember that, Mike? You ever see that?
I do.
Yeah.
He actually called the game.
That's a good call, ref. That's a good call.
That's right. He did. He did call the catch game with the.
I listened to it. He goes, that's my shoe. He's a good possession guy. Good possession guy.
I know. I'm still upset about that Chiefs-Vikings Super Bowl. I was a big Vikings fan back then.
Oh.
Okay. All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here with Bruce McGowan. Our first trivia question was, this franchise began in the AFL in 1960, later merged with the NFL in 1970. Franchise found themselves in the first Super Bowl. What was the name of this franchise?
Of course, it was the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, now technically the thing is, what was the team?
Oh, they were the Dallas Texans.
The Dallas Texans, that's right.
Good.
1963 they became the Chiefs.
That's right.
Okay, so Bruce, tell us again who our guest is.
Yeah, we got Mike Shuman, a Bay Area sportscaster. We were talking to Mike a little bit about the 49ers' troubles, and I want to, transition into some other topics. But before we stop talking about the Niners, Mike, for those that aren't in the Bay Area and maybe haven't been following this team, I don't think they realize how stunning a fall this team has made, and it's the fans around here. There's almost a sense of unreality. We all knew they were going to have trouble without Harbaugh, without their guys like Frank Gore and Patrick Willis and people like that. But my gosh, you're covering the team on a regular basis. What is the atmosphere like around Santa Clara and the practice facility now that Kaepernick has been demoted?
Are they asking to have you suit up again?
Well, yeah, that's been a little bit of a joke. I got about 10 good rounds left in the year.
There you go.
I was down there the last 2 days, and anytime, it's rare when you make a quarterback switch mid-season, but it gives them almost like this little pep in their step in the locker room and kind of a newfound enthusiasm because knowing it can't get any worse. And Blaine Gabbert, he hasn't been that successful in his 5-year career. He's 5-22 as a starter with Jacksonville for 2 years, but he was thrown to the wolves like Alex Smith was early in his career. He's the kind of guy that pre-read defenses, he doesn't have the pocket, they have the free read. Like he would have saw Torrey Smith wide open in that last game, got the ball for a 98-yard touchdown. And I think he's going to get the ball out, be a game manager like Alex Smith was. He's a playmaker, There's Cap has to wait and see a guy open before he throws it. As a wide receiver, you want to turn and that ball be in the air. And that's why you don't see a lot of run after the catch with Kaepernick because the ball gets there so late.
Yeah.
So I think it might be surprising, but with that offensive line, that's a big question mark, especially that right side. But Gabbard, I think you're going to have a one-game tryout for him. They go into a bye week, then they'll decide where they're going to go. So if he looks good, I think he's going to continue to play until he just doesn't do well, and then that might be it for Cap. They don't owe him anything. And to cut it by April 1st and not have any salary cap ramifications. So I think this is a big opportunity for Gabbard. I don't think he's the long-term answer, but maybe to draft somebody like Jared Goff or Cal, let him watch a couple of years and then go from there.
And I think Kaepernick is one of those guys, too. He's a good enough athlete. If you get the right coach, maybe he's salvageable. Right now, he's kind of broken, isn't he?
Well, he can play like for the Eagles. Chip Kelly, the way they like to spread that ball, run around, I think he'd be good for them. But I don't think anybody's going to trade for him for a contract. It's about $12 million next year. But no, he'll probably end up getting away if somebody picks him up and re-signs. It's amazing, Bruce, and you've covered the game long enough that the 32 starting quarterbacks in the league, you might have 10, 15 premier, and then the drop-off from starting quarterbacks to number 2 quarterbacks is so drastic now.
Yeah.
That's why I think Cap will end up somewhere else.
Definitely.
Well, I wonder what that does emotionally to him. He was, high.
Yeah, 7 yards away from winning a Super Bowl a couple of years ago. It's
Yeah, I think, but Jim created this false sense of security for him. I think that, and
Jim Harbaugh, you're talking about.
Even when he made mistakes, that he covered them up somehow. So nobody saw his fallacies until Jim left. So and Jim was kind of a quarterback whisperer, so he got the most out of it. And Brett Baalke didn't want Kaepernick.
Really?
Talked him into it. That's why Trent picked him up. Because otherwise, Trent's gone. And the problem with that is Jed doesn't have any connections in the league to hire a football guy to take over.
Yeah.
So he almost needs Trent Baalke for that reason. He's not connected that way.
Yeah, Jed York is probably the most unpopular owner I can remember in the Bay Area since, the Warriors had Chris Cohen, although Chris Cohen never, as bad as he was, you never heard too much about him. Jed always, whenever he gets in front of the camera, he says something stupid. And it's just like, God, Jed, get out of the spotlight here. You're making a fool of yourself.
Yeah, so I think if anything, Cap will be the scapegoat this year, and then if Baalke can get a quarterback that can be successful, he'll be gone the following.
So with Harbaugh, you always see him as one of these hard guys. Is it because he was a former quarterback? You think that's why he kind of took Kaepernick under his wing and kind of allowed him to have a little flexibility, like you said?
Oh, no question. And I think he saw, and it's kind of a new age quarterback, somebody who can move like this. Because, everybody's so fast in the league right now. Like Patrick Willis was 6'4", 250 and ran a 4.5 40. So you got to have a quarterback that either has great pocket presence like Drew Brees or somebody who can move like Colin Kaepernick. So, and Steve Young was the same way, but Mike Shanahan kept him in the film study for 3 hours a day, just imprinted in his mind how to read defenses. When you have the ability to take off and run, your first instinct as an athlete is going to be to do that. And wide receivers hate it because, it's one big scramble around their offense, and that was it.
Bay Area Television sportscaster Mike Shuman is joining us here. And I got to ask you about the team on the other side of the Bay, the Raiders, because we in the Bay Area are singularly fortunate. When one team is going bad, it seems like the other team is always on the upswing, and the Raiders right now look like a legitimate playoff team. They beat a very good New York Jet team recently, and they have all the weapons to be a contender for a wild card this year.
Well, you got to give Reggie McKenzie credit. People were dogging him in the first 2 years. He built through the draft, key free agents, and Derek Carr and Khalil Mack were his best choices because there's your 2 anchors on offense and defense. And then Amari Cooper, oh my goodness, I've never seen a rookie wide receiver have so much skill at that point in his career. And, like you said, Bruce, they beat the Jets. That's a 4-2 team. That's number 1 defense, and they just abused that team. So that was the next step in their development. You got to win at home. And they've got some mojo going over there. They picked up Mike Crabtree, free agents like him. Justin Tuck, who got injured. But that young defense is pretty impressive itself. So they've done a great job over there. Unfortunately, they can't find a stadium for the damn team. We'd love to keep them in Oakland, but I just don't know if that'll happen. But I tell you, like you said, Bruce, one team's down, the other one seems to be up, so it's kind of fun. And I said this yesterday, here we are down here covering this Kaepernick squares, which, is fine, but the Raiders are the real story in the Bay Area this year, and yet they still are second banana to the Niners who are just horrible.
Yeah. What I always, one of the problems with the Raiders has always been penalties.
Well, it was until this year. If you looked at last week's game, I think they only had about 6 or 7. And one of the guys, you mentioned that young defense, and the guy that really has been instrumental, he's like a coach on the field. He's having a great year. I think he has 5 interceptions. 39-year-old Charles Woodson. You talked with him a few times, Mike. What's your impression of Charles Woodson?
Well, he's a little like, he's probably the Jerry Rice of defense. Just a freakish player, has so much athletic ability. Even when he runs out of it, still, effective at 39 because of his experience, takes great angles on the ball, he sets quarterbacks up, and he is the heart and soul of that defense, and maybe that team over there. And then, of course, Jack Del Rio. I mean, you could not have hired a better coach for the Raiders. Grew up watching him, he's from Hayward, he understands the fan base, and the guy knows how to win. I mean, he did a pretty good job down in Jacksonville, which is probably one of the worst organizations. He was there 9 years, I think, as the head coach, so. But Woodson's just a freak of nature, and I say that in a positive way. But 5 interceptions, and it sounds like you said 2 from Peyton Manning. He played against him, and that's the only guy who's ever had an interception against that came out in his draft class. So a lot of fun. He understands the game. Hell, he's a Heisman Trophy winner, and to switch from corner to free safety to strong safety is just amazing. He's like Ronnie Lott. He's on pro at all 3 positions.
One of the guys, too, that we loved covering when he was here in the Bay Area, and they just traded him to Denver, Vernon Davis. They talk about a guy escaping a team that's, flailing away and getting to go to a Super Bowl contender. What a great move for him. You think, his numbers and his skills seem to have eroded the last year. Mike, we were talking off air, and you hinted that he may just be lacking a little bit of the desire because he's at that age maybe where he's just sort of burnt out.
Well, I think the last 2 years, and I talked to some players down there, he did get Kaepernick's face in one of those team meetings.
Did he really?
And, well, I think every wide receiver has.
Yeah.
This guy, dude, I am so open. Would you open your eyes? Would you read the defense? Because that's going to direct you to where the open man is, and that's what's not happening.
Yeah, you never had to worry about that with Montana, did you?
No. I just think that, Vernon just got frustrated, number one. I mean, he's the only tight end in the league to catch 13 TD passes 2 different years. So he has the skill. I just think he lost interest, and he said it in Denver yesterday. That team was so bad, everybody's numbers went down. So, and that's what Peyton Manning did not have on that team as a tight end.
I can imagine it. It is a team effort, but I can imagine being a wide receiver, running all these routes, and just to think in the back of your mind, okay, when's my quarterback going to be running?
Well, Troy Smith said it yesterday. He said, hey, I'm open. They're going to throw it. Any wide receiver will tell you, and I used to say this, I'm like Denny's. I'm open 24 hours.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
I like that. Stay with us, Mike. Yeah. We're going to cut to our second commercial break here. All right, I got some easy questions because I got to give Bruce a break. Last time I asked him some hard ones. Which team was the first in NFL history to have 2 1,000-yard rushers in the same season? Right? The first email with the correct answer is going to win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email edward@sportsecon101.com. The answer to this question: which team was the first in NFL history to have 2 1,000-yard rushers in the same season? All right, stay with us because you're listening to Sports Econ 101 with Edward Brown, Bruce McGowan, and our special guest, Mike Shuman. Stay with us. Don't touch that down.
God, it's funny. I should know the answer to that, but I don't. You know the
Raiders?
Is it the Raiders?
Well, you'll have to see.
Well, I'm trying to think.
I'm thinking of the back. I can see the back, but I can't think of his name. Yeah. Raiders are Denver, I think.
Yeah, I think it might be Denver. I don't know. We'll find out shortly. Edward is not giving me any kind of an indication here.
No.
Well, we used to do this. We had MC Hammer on the pregame show, Bruce. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
He walk off and MC Hammer. And Rich used to do this thing, know the rules or be the fool. So he'd have all these rules for the NFL, and I knew how to draw pass interference or what applied to me, and that was about it. Hammer would beat me every
Is
fucking.
that right? He knew his stuff, huh?
He knew so much about the game. It was impressive.
Wow.
I still see him in the Warriors game. He's like, shoo, you know. And it got to be embarrassing. I said, dude, we got to quit this contest. You fucking thanks me plugging me.
Just remember, we can't swear because we're on we're doing FCC stuff. But you know, it's funny. This is just between the three of us. But you know, my main business, Mike, is hard money real estate loans. And sometime in the mid '90s, MC Hammer actually came to us for a loan. We didn't know him personally, but he went like through a broker. And when we looked at how risky this loan was, we said, "Yeah, I don't think so." And then literally within a couple of weeks, he filed BK.
Yeah, that was he had a rough time there in the mid-90s. I remember.
No, he made so much money and went through it all. It was amazing.
It's like a Mike Tyson thing.
Probably had his crew that sort of spent half of it for
Yeah,
him.
there you go. The entourage.
Buying race horses. It was unbelievable.
All right, so we're going to keep you on for just one last segment, then we'll be done, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so
Appreciate it,
much. Have a
Sue.
lot of fun.
Are you working tonight?
Yeah, I'm off. I'm
Oh,
actually just running errands right
Oh, nice.
All right.
I just got finished surfing. It was so nice out at Ocean Beach. Oh my God.
See, I wish I was. If I had Bruce's money, I'd throw mine away. He's able to go out there surfing.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Here's our here's our second trivia question. Which team was the first in NFL history to have two 1,000-yard rushers in the same season?
I'm gonna let Shu answer that. I remember, but I just don't remember who it was. I remember what happened.
I'm thinking Oakland or Denver.
All right.
You guys can be embarrassed as
Who
soon
was
as I tell you.
49ers?
No,
Oh.
Miami Dolphins.
Oh, Miami.
Zonka and
Zonka.
Morris.
Yeah. Zonka and who?
Morris.
And Mercury
Mercury
Morris.
Morris,
Not Jim
yeah.
Kick, though.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Jim
he
Kick
was
a-
always, kind of a little bit of
Yeah,
second behind
yeah.
Zonka.
Actually, I was a rookie with the Miami Dolphins in '77.
Really?
Yeah, so coming off of those great Super Bowl years, Howard Twilley,
Yeah.
that's a guy had retired and they needed a white guy. So I was down there with Don Shula. Here's a quick great story. Third game of the year, I got cut because I got injuries at linebacker, and they only kept 4 wide receivers back then. Shula called me in. He says, "We're going to let you go. I'd like you to stay around." I said, "No, get me on another team." He goes, "Well, that's why we put you through waivers to see if somebody will play me." And I said, "No, you're Don Shula. You can get me on another team." So he's laughing at me. No rookie's ever talked to him like that. 2 weeks later, Joe Thomas, who used to be with the Dolphins, was running the Niners, called me. I came out, had a tryout, made the team. Years later, Don Shula said, "No rookies ever talked to me like that." I can hold Joe Thomas for you.
Good for you.
The rest is history.
That's a great story. That's a great
People
story.
are just people, you know.
Yeah.
Even Don Shula is just people.
Hey, I got to ask you that. We were talking about our local teams here in the Bay Area. Right now, I'm looking at the standings. Denver, with that great defense, they're 7-0. New England is playing, of course, typically lights out there, 7-0. How about the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah.
7-0. What's going on with the Cincinnati Bengals, Mike? Why are they so good?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the reasons is that Hugh Jackson, the former Raiders head coach, is going to be a head coach somewhere next year. He's got that offense gets honed. And Andy Dalton believes in him, believes in himself now. Dalton's never won a playoff game, but I think it's the first time in NFL history we've had 4 7-0 teams.
Yeah.
And so they're playing with good defense. And Bruce, that black and blue division they're in, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and they beat each other up. So it's just an impressive team. They've been on the right there to take that next step, and I think this year will be the year.
It wasn't it last year that they just barely lost to San Diego?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They have not won a playoff game. I guess Marvin Lewis has not won a playoff game, but he's managed to hang on to his job. But this could be the year. And then in the National Conference, Arizona is a team to kind of keep an eye on. Of course, Carolina is undefeated. They pulled one out on a wild game on Monday night the other night, and the Green Bay Packers also at 6-1. Would you, if you had to look right now at the midway point of the season, Mike, in the NFC, would you say it's kind of a toss-up between Arizona and maybe Green Bay with the Carolina Panthers sort of as an outside shot?
I think the Panthers might surprise some people. If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Green Bay and New England in the Super Bowl again. It would be fun to see Aaron Rodgers and Brady battle, but I was surprised how Green Bay lost. Who they lose to last week? I can't even recall, but I was a little surprised. Oh, it's Denver.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised because Denver's offense paid to me. It seems like he's just not the guy. Their defense is carrying that team, but. I think those are the 3, and Carolina's surprising people. Cam Newton's come into his own. They've always had a great defense, and it's still early, but it's going to be interesting down the stretch here.
Oh, yeah, you know, we're talking general sports. We should mention, too, here in the Bay Area, we have the dominant NBA team, the Golden State Warriors, who, as we were speaking, doing this interview, they had not lost a game. They beat a very good Clipper team the other night, and you know, the Clippers gave it everything they had. I mean, the Warriors look like they're better than they were a year ago, if that's possible. They won 67 games.
I'm telling you, they beat Memphis by 50 earlier in the week. And Aaron Bright, the former Stanford guard, is one of our interns right now. And I said, are they this good? And I, like you said, Bruce, I think they're better. They understand what Steve Kerr, although through Luke Walton, wants to do. And Curry has such free reign. And Bruce, you and I have talked about this. If he was playing back in the old bad boy days of Detroit, Chicago, he couldn't have played because of all the hard fouls. Yeah. I've never seen. He just goes to the basket at will. I'd take that 12th man on my bench. I'd knock him into the stands and get ejected. Somebody has to get physical with this guy.
Yeah.
He's just going to keep lighting it up like he is. And you got to pick him up half court almost, because if you pick him up on the 3-point line, he's just going to do a couple of jukes and shoot it. You know, they're not physical enough with him for me. But it's amazing to watch this team. I mean, that was a great game against the Clippers, and I don't know. It's just like, I think we're going to go through these playoffs once again. So it's an amazing thing to watch.
Hey, this is a fun time of the year also with the free agency coming up for baseball. And Zach Greinke is in the driver's seat. The Dodgers may lose him, and I don't know if the Giants will pick him up. But what do you think of this guy? You know, perhaps earning maybe $30 million a year. That's just unbelievable. It's staggering.
I mean, how does a guy walk away from guaranteed $71 million to test the market? What happens if he doesn't get? You know, if someone says, no, we're just all going to wait. Little price
fix. Well, it was 3 years, 71, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Harrison Barnes walked away from $16 million. You know, he's averaging 10.5 boards a game and walked away from that, you know, because it's going to increase next year. I'd love to see the Giants get him. Never want to take him from the Dodgers, but it's just amazing, the money now. It's just out of control, and the television money is enabling owners to do it. The owners just continue to do it. I mean, some owners are going to have to stand up and say, I'm not paying this kind of money.
Yeah. You know, I think,
well, if it happens, and I was so happy to see Dusty Baker get back in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I think part of the whole allure is if the guy's getting paid, you know, $25 million, like, well, I got to watch this guy. I got to see how good this guy really is.
Yeah.
And it kind of just the whole genre, you know, the aura of a guy making that much money. And then there's the two sides of it. One, is he really proving it, or is he somebody, you know, that everyone's going to attack because he's not making it? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Well, Steph Curry, for instance, is like the 5th highest paid guy on the Warriors.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? He won't be for long, though, will he?
No, but his next deal might be the biggest in the NBA history.
Yeah, and the Warriors will happily pay him. I mean, the Warriors, if they want to keep that team together, will do whatever they can to keep them together. And I would think, even if the other team, even if some of these guys were offered a little more elsewhere, if they have the chance to stay with the Warriors, I have a feeling that may be the determining factor. Well, you know, when you talk about big money, though, and you mentioned names, a guy who never made a lot of money, and he played about the same time you played in the NFL, Dusty Baker, you alluded to him earlier, getting the manager job at Washington after we thought Bud Black was going to get it. What a great move that is for not only Dusty, but for the Washington Nationals.
Well, I wanted to see Dusty get the Dodgers job. You know, he played for them, he won a championship ring with them, and of course I wanted to see him get back in the game, but I guess Black didn't feel like they, you know, it was an insult that they offered.
Was it really that low?
I don't know, you know, and then whereas Dusty just wanted to get back in the game, and he's made enough money, I'm sure, so he's willing to take whatever they get, and I think Dusty's going to be great for that team. He can manage those egos. Because I have to work with Barry Bonds, he can pretty much manage anybody.
Yeah, he can handle Bryce Harper. I think Bryce is, handle it. Barry Bonds was. I remember covering the Giants and traveling with them, and Dusty got along okay with Barry Bonds because he grew up with him. He knew his dad. They were friends. But I know Barry really put Dusty through the ringer a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and Barry was delightful if he liked you or wanted you. Spring training, I'm down there one year, and he's sitting in a dugout by himself. So I said, hey, you got a minute for an interview? And he goes, why should I talk to you? And I happen to have my Super Bowl ring on, and I just held it up and said, because I have a world championship ring and you don't.
Oh, I love it. He probably liked that, didn't he?
He loved it. He goes, sit down. We had a half-hour interview, and after after that, he had nothing but respect for me. But then we had this little game. I said, "You got time for me?" He goes, "No." But the last game, nobody was coming up to him or anything. I went up to him and I said, "I don't care what anybody said. You're still the best hitter I've ever seen in baseball." He goes, "You want to try one more time?" He goes, "Yeah." You got time for me? No. And he was juicing or not, it doesn't mean that on the ball. And the guy was just one of the most phenomenal hitters I've ever seen.
You know, Mike, you talk to Don Shula the way you do. You talk to Barry Bonds. We should have you in politics, have you in foreign policy.
Yeah, that's always been me. And if the truth's going to set you free, as they say, be surprised how many athletes appreciate it.
Well, yeah, I think.
So many people suck up to them.
Oh yeah. No, I think your approach is
a lot than I have.
Definitely. I think your approach is. I've always said this. I think one of Mike's great gifts is that he is a people person, but he doesn't. There's no BS to him, and so the guys he's trying to talk to, maybe he doesn't know him. You know, you can go up to a guy like a Barry Bonds and say something like that, and these athletes actually like it when you kind of tease them. That's because that's what they do to themselves. They do that.
They're not expecting. You know, if you're like you said, everyone kisses up the the aura of
Yeah.
Well, that's what's so great about Curry. You know, his parents raised him really well.
Yeah. Speaking of Curry, tell us a little bit about your relationship with him, and just I know it's everybody has their own relationship with athletes, but have you had a chance to sit down and talk with him much?
Oh yeah. Well, I was embedded with him basically during the playoffs for 2 months. They were calling me. Raymond River, their PR guy, said to Klay Thompson, "Hey, mind doing an interview with Shu?" He goes, "Is that the white-haired dude that plays for the Niners?" So I became the white-haired dude with the Niners.
I love it.
Steph and I had a great relationship. I got to know Dell real well, seeing him, and I got to know Steph real well. So we all had kind of created a bond. And as an ex-athlete, no matter what sport, other athletes appreciate the fact that you played at that level. So I'm sitting there with Klay Thompson after the game, waiting to come to me live. And he sees my Super Bowl ring. He goes, "Where'd you get that?" I go, "Dude, white-haired dude, Niners. I had to get one of those rings." Klay had his worst game of the series, and I go, "If you'll start making some shots, maybe you'll get a ring."
By the way,
and he looks at me and goes, "Oh, man, that ain't right." And he was ready to do the interview.
What did they do? Yeah, speaking of rings, did you see the rings the Warriors got for the championship? My God!
Gave me his ring. I put it on my finger with my ring and tweeted it out in my hashtag inferiority.
I saw that. I saw that. It was like it was like this little. It was like one of those rings you get out of the Cracker Jack box compared to something.
Well, it's the kind that they wear like the Giants that they wear the hat, right? That has the Super Bowl ring.
Yeah,
it's not really to be worn, probably.
I mean, I don't know how you could wear a ring like that without your hand, sort of having to be
a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, it's just
not on. It's gonna get in the way. But knowing Joe Latham and Peter Guber doesn't.
Yeah. Hey, before we let you go, got to ask you about Stanford because nobody talks about Stanford. Even here in the Bay Area, they're legitimately a top 5 or top 6 team. They're ranked a little lower than that, but they have a legitimate shot at being the national champions this year. And they still have a number of games to play, but the toughest games are behind them. Why don't they get much? I know why they don't get much publicity here in the Bay Area because there's just not that many alum. But why don't they get that much respect nationally?
Well, a lot of it's because they play these 7:30 games. I think they've had 6 or 8 games or night games, which is 10:30 back east. Nobody watches them. They play a type offense that nobody does anymore. That power run game, play action pass, and they're going to win the Pac-12. And like Ohio State, Michigan State are going to beat each other up. One of them's going to lose. The SEC, same thing. LSU, Alabama, this. So, like you said, Bruce, they played their toughest games. They win the Pac-12 and only have 1 loss. I don't think there's going to be an undefeated team in the college football this year by the end. I think they will be a legitimate top 4 team. And if they get in it, it's like old teams that run the wishbone. They're hard to prepare for because they just pound the ball at you. And David Shaw does such a great job. And Kevin Hogan, like him or hate him, he put him on his shoulders against Washington State. He's a senior with great leadership. So I think they're a team to watch out for at season's end.
Mike Shuman, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Econ 101. It was a pleasure to have you, and we'll definitely have to have you back on again.
Anytime, a lot of fun. We live in old time.
All right.
Appreciate it, Shu. Good talking to you, man. All right. Shu's a great guy, and then not only a great storyteller, but we were kind of alluding to the fact that he has fun. And when you work in broadcasting, you got to have fun.
Got to have fun. Okay, here's our third and final trivia question. This 1991 team, football we're talking, did not have a running back rush for for even 500 yards, but they did have a receiver who caught 1,122 yards. Which team was that? I might have to give you some hints when we get back.
Okay.
Stay with us. Sports Econ 101 will be right back with some closing comments.
Is Mike great?
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's funny.
Got a good sense of humor.
No, I like that.
And it was weird too because he called me to ask me some question. I can't even remember what it was about. It was just some trivial thing. And I had thought to myself a couple weeks ago, I should get Mike Shuman. I completely forgot about it. He called me. I said, and I was looking for a guest. I thought, hey, we got to get him on. So should I, as far as the trade dollar thing, should I just call the guy up and say,
Brian.
Yeah, because you've been putting the
well, I put it in, and I gave you the couple of the overnights on that, and then I got to give you another overnight one to cover the different. Like one of them was worth 700 something, whatever.
So in lieu of that, you don't for a couple of weeks. Obviously, you don't give you that.
Yeah, it's like
That's funny. That woman from Molokai wants to know if I want to rent my in-laws being really nice. They said we want to treat you guys to a 2-week vacation anytime this summer. My parents-in-law. That was really nice. So I'm thinking Hawaii. We'll do Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking one week on Maui, 1 week on Molokai, or maybe Big Island.
Yeah, and you can do those little happy hops.
Yeah.
They're not very expensive.
2 weeks would be great. That's
a long time.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
We'll have to record it ahead of time.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Here was our third final trivia question. This 1991 NFL team did not have a running back rush for even 500 yards, but they did have a receiver who caught 1,122 yards.
God, I'm totally.
It's tough. Okay, so now we'll give you a hint.
Is it a playoff team?
For 1991, I can't remember.
Okay.
Okay, but the receiver was Michael Haynes.
Okay.
Does that help? Okay, this team also saw Brett Favre as a rookie in 1991.
Oh, that's the Green Bay Packers.
No.
Oh no, that's right. He started off with somebody Atlanta
Falcons.
Atlanta, that's right. And they got rid of him. What a mistake that was.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going back and going, what do you think? Was that good? I guess they traded him, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes a guy needs to go to a different environment and he becomes a star. Some guys are just stars. I think Brett Favre, you put him wherever you put him, he's going to be a star.
Oh yeah, he definitely do it. Yeah. Okay, here's our thoughts for the day. I knew I was dog meat. Luckily, I'm the high-priced dog meat that everybody wants. I'm the good quality dog meat. I'm the Alpo of the NBA. Shaq O'Neal said that.
Shaq has a good. He's got a good, self-deprecating wit. He can make fun of himself.
And good old Ben Franklin said, "Games lubricate the body and the mind." And it wasn't just talking about mud wrestling.
That's very true.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned.
He had away with the older women too, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He had an expression. All cats are gray in the dark. I always love that expression.
I never heard that one.
All cats are gray in the dark. I heard some rather crude variations of that from some older guys years ago. I won't need that. We don't need to say it. It's a family radio show.
That's right. Exactly. All right. So tune in next week to Sports Econ.
On that low note.
Let me say I never went to bed with an ugly woman, but I've woken up with a few. Okay, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective, giving away more free vacations for answering sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown, and we'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long. All cats are gray in the dark. I like that one. Yeah, he was a funny guy. In fact, he and I share the same birthday.
Really?